Laser Brain.
Hello, Laser Brain. I'm going to be looking down here like an iPad kid.
Duran Duran reissues. Number 4,
Mm.
Notorious. Da,
I,
da, da,
I got my
da, da, da,
list
da, da,
also down here to see what's
Wait
next.
a minute. Where are the rest of the band?
What happened?
Oh, maybe they're back here.
Oh,
No,
what?
that's just some chick.
I'm getting scared. Is it like a body snatchers moment?
So, this album,
Tell
we
me.
did the wild card last week.
Mm-hmm.
They did all that extra stuff that we talked about.
Yep.
And then 2 of them decided we're not going back.
Man, that's pretty rough.
Andy said no, and Roger just said, I'm out of showbiz.
Ooh.
He really disappeared. Andy wanted to go and do his own thing and do a solo album, which he did.
Mm-hmm. Was it any good?
It's that one song, Take It Easy. Well, you guys brought me the 12-inch about a month ago, and we played it.
Oh yeah, I think Katie did.
And it sounds a Take It Easy. It almost sounds like a nursery rhyme or something.
Maybe it is.
Ooh. On yourself. What is that kid's song? Da, da, on yourself.
I don't know what you're talking about.
There's a nursery rhyme, and it sounds just like that song.
On yourself.
I need to hear that song again. It'll drop right in my head.
Here, wait, I got it. Do 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 do.
Somehow I'm hearing what goes on inside your head right now.
Boop 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 boop.
That must be tough
Was
getting
that the
through
song?
life with that in your head, right?
Was that the song?
No,
Okay.
I can't think of it. It's one of those standards that are really old song. It looks like he ripped it.
Okay.
So anyways, Nick Rhodes says, hey, it's time to start an album. Calls up Andy in Los Angeles. Andy doesn't want to go to work. So they got the lawyers involved and said, get your ass in here or we're going to sue you.
Well, that's nice.
So he showed up.
That's how you get your best work, is when you're forced to.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
So apparently a lot of it was garbage, and he wouldn't leave the power station sound, so a lot of it was really hard.
Yeah, I love it.
I've heard a version of American Science with his guitar riff. It's really fast and it's really loud.
Okay.
So I don't know exactly what got kept in any of these songs, but his name is on there somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah, somebody's saying hi.
Oh, Ron! Hello, Ron.
Ron, punctual.
Yep.
How you doing, Ron?
We said one.
So I don't know, Ron, if you know what songs off this album that Andy was still a part of that actually made the record, even though his name's on it. Someone else took over. Warren Cucurullo.
Ooh, fun name.
From Missing Persons. That band broke up.
Yep.
He happened to be in LA in the studio when he heard that Andy Taylor wasn't going to work. He heard Andy Taylor complaining and thought,
I better sneak in there.
why don't I jump on this?
Hey, how's it going?
And he did, and that started a whole new era. Because Warren lasts from 86 all the way up to 2000.
So this is the first album he was working on?
He's not a full member. He's just a session player.
Okay.
But they took him on tour. He's a de facto, like Dom Brown is right now, a de facto guitar player for Duran Duran.
Yep.
At this point, Warren is the de facto guitar player for Duran Duran.
Okay.
So he works on this album, especially the last song they wrote, which is the first song we're going to talk about, is Notorious.
I love Notorious. Great song.
Last song they wrote.
Great song.
And first single off this album.
Yep. And the name of the album.
And it's got Warren all over it.
He only did 2 or 3 songs. That's what Ron says.
Right. Well, I'm just wondering which ones made the final cut. Because I know the American Science, if you hear that demo, it's all... It doesn't flow with that song at all or the vibe of this album.
Yeah. Well, you ready to talk about it?
And then Roger Showbiz. So Notorious, the last song they wrote for this album.
Okay.
They put it out. I'm not sure this hit number 1. I know it went up there. But I can't remember. I remember waiting by the radio, hitting the record on the tape player and recording the song off KROQ.
Ron's trying to figure out where in his brain he knows those 2 or 3 songs.
Right.
that he was a part
I
of.
know American Science is one of them because I've heard it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know where maybe Vertigo he kept on there. That one's kind of hard.
We're
right?
just warming Ron up, you know. With
Vertigo is the burnt, 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 burnt. That one.
yeah.
So, what do you like about Notorious?
I love Notorious. I gotta say, it's one of my fave Duran Duran songs.
All time, huh?
All time. I really like it. I think it's catchy. I can understand most of the lyrics, which is pretty rare.
You like Flaky Bandit?
Yeah, it's great stuff. So long the boys making noise.
So long as the boys making noise.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I'm thinking it through. Hey, listen, I have a lyric problem.
Number 7 in the UK Notorious single.
So, what about the US? I think it went higher in the US.
It was just like high up there.
Again,
it's pretty good.
The American hype for this record.
It was way more.
Sort of the teeny boppers have now fallen off at this point. But people were still excited to see what they're going to do. And then they got a major left turn with this record.
Yep.
Because this sounds nothing like what came before, and it's a whole new direction.
I like
Once you get past 1985, music shifted hugely. You have from about 77 to about 85, everything is just layered with synthesizers.
Love synthesizers.
Then everything went sort of R&B.
I gotta be 100%. So I got the Shadows on Your or 7 in the Ragged Tiger album, and it was between Notorious and 7 in the Ragged Tiger, which one I was gonna get, because I was only gonna get one, just because I didn't want to go crazy, you know.
You shouldn't deny yourself.
Yeah, well,
we're only here for a short time.
I'm pretty poor, so.
Well,
I was like,
maybe I'll give you a couple dollars.
I can do it.
You want to take this?
No. But it was either going to be Notorious or 7 in the Ragged Tiger. And it was a tough choice because I love Notorious. That's like one of my jams. And there's like I said, when you get a record, kind of got the same vibe going on the whole record. Like, I like it.
I think out of the two...
funky different sounds, Ron says.
Yeah.
I agree.
And that's the Nile Rodgers heavy influence. And they still work with Nile Rodgers today.
Yeah.
That's how much they enjoyed making this record.
Exactly.
But they want to, you know, they always seem to be a little ahead of the curve. And with sort of this popular music switching into R&B, this was right there.
Cool.
So that's why you get, can you imagine listening to 7 in the Ragged Tiger and then their next album is this?
Yeah, I guess it would be.
Because remember what I told you about the 80s, the genres weren't really mixed.
Yeah.
They were, you were this or you were that. And like R&B, very tough to hear on the radio. But this changed some minds with Notorious.
You want to know my favorite part of Notorious? Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. It's such a... It's fun.
It is fun. And you know what? So I played that the other day. I'm selling one of my synthesizers. And I thought, I'm going to have to do a demonstration. So I said, what could I do quickly? So I got everything ready and I put it on. And I looked at the chord progression for that. And I couldn't believe what it was. It's just a D minor. But your thumb, well, actually, I was playing with this hand. But your thumb and your index finger are holding down the D and the F. And then the next button would be the A, right? Next key.
Yeah.
It just goes A, bottom finger B, bottom finger C.
Very minor.
These two never move.
But the perfect dance in music.
And then it dances right back.
Yep.
So then you go C.
Well, plus it bounces,
B,
and even
A.
the kind of synthesizer noise that's used is fun.
So that was the new kind of synthesizers
like the
too.
harpsichord kind of feel.
It's so at this point synthesizers were switching from synthesizers actually made the sounds. The stuff inside would make those sounds you hear. That's why most of those, there's a few patches, but you tweak them and do like this. This is a point where they had samples. Basically synthesizers turned into just playing back a noise and then you tweak it there. There's some FM synthesis and other stuff, but basically that was your noise. When I played that on that thing, I tweaked it very little. That was just a standard noise that you would get in keyboards now.
Pretty great. There's one question from Ron. Do you know what Meet El Presidente is about?
You know, so
We gotta.
I don't know why. I don't know why it's Meet El Presidente,
Mm-hmm.
but to me, it's almost like a movie or a video shoot or something like that. That's some kind of diva is a pain in the ass on the set, is what I take from it. But what does Ron know? Because he
Ron,
usually knows.
Ron, tell me about Meet El Presidente. We'll. We should continue on to the next song, but I will stop us again once we get an answer from
You
Ron.
know, when the chamber's empty. When I hear that, I think of the bullet in the gun in the barrel.
Oh
In
yeah.
that chamber is what I'm thinking.
Well, I wouldn't know anything about it. That's one. For the most part, I don't super understand what he's saying.
Right.
So
That song's more of a vibe and whatever.
yeah,
But
yeah.
so Notorious, you love.
Love Notorious.
Big deal, big single.
Yep.
Let's move on to American Science.
I really like this song too.
So do I.
It wasn't the same as Notorious, but like, it was really good.
Great lyrics in there
I
too.
enjoyed it. What were the lyrics in the?
Well, when you're singing a song and you can fit in the word megalomania and make it sound good.
Yeah, that's also a fun word to say.
It sure is, isn't it?
Megalomania. And Ron said it's about Prime Minister Maggie Thatcher.
Really?
Yeah, how do you like that?
So she was obviously not too popular with Duran Duran because
Maybe.
it's sort of a negative vibe.
Yeah, well, maybe that was the case.
I know she came in and did a lot of tough love with unions and
Yeah.
she wasn't seen as for the working class.
So maybe that's why he was making the song vaguely.
Well,
dissonant.
she was pretty. I think she was called the Iron Lady.
Mm-hmm.
She was a little ruthless.
We'll meet El Presidente.
Right. So maybe that's what they're talking about. That's funny. I never really
Yeah.
thought about it that way. I never had a bad impression of Margaret Thatcher, but then again, I didn't live in the UK.
You mean
so
Maggie Thatcher?
Maggie's what they say. I
Oh.
say Margaret.
It was about That's It, Buddy Correct.
Yeah, I'm not sure Buddy correct. I haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
But fun times in the UK, right? That's usually, if you politics, it usually goes that way. Somebody will come in and do something, and then everybody gets angry, and they'll throw them out and put somebody new in, and they're happy for 10 minutes, and then they go and then they throw them out and they put somebody new in.
It's great.
And it's usually, it just goes bing, bong, bing. The politicians love playing ping pong because that keeps them in power.
Well, Duran Duran made a song about it.
Hmm.
Super fun.
But American Science, so
Pretty great.
what do you think that's about?
Well, like the science that you find in America, mayhaps.
Wow. What do you
Yeah.
mean, like a beaker?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I sort of hear that song and I think about maybe he was dating an American girl.
It was about That's It, Buddy Correct. No, about you saying everything was correctly right.
Oh, about Thatcher.
Yeah.
Thatcher. Excuse
Yeah.
me. Thatchy.
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 That was about Thatchy.
Thatchy.
Mm-hmm.
Thatcher. Yeah.
Okay.
I remember there were like, I don't know if there were riots, but people were pissed off.
Yeah. Well, Simon was upset.
He was. He's always been a working class guy. All of them, really.
Yeah, so he didn't like it, so meet El Presidente.
Even though they were millionaires by the time they were 20.
Is that the kind of thing?
It depends on how you grow up. If you grew up working class, that never leaves your mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you're always, you're considerate with your money and you're careful and you work hard and you care for others because you know how hard the struggle is.
Ooh, Ron says American Science is his fave.
Oh.
Is his fave.
Maybe it's mine.
Yeah. Wow.
Is Ron talking about this album or
American
period?
Science is my fave. Ron, are you talking about in all of Duran Duran or just this album?
I would suggest that probably it's just this album.
Yeah, it's a good song. I like it.
Yeah.
Once again, I think these first couple of ones I thought were really good.
Usually that's how it works, right?
Yeah, I mean, and then it kind of goes a little bit downhill near the end.
Yeah, that's
They put
usually
the best
how it
stuff
goes.
first.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they pick, but
Obviously, Skin Trade is outstanding.
so Skin Trade, another single,
Outstanding.
another one that went way up the charts.
That one's just so fun.
You know, and in fact, there's actually a really good documentary called Three to Get Ready about them getting ready for the tour for this album, and they talk a lot about the struggles that they had. There's some footage with them talking to the record company. Record company was not happy with this record.
Yeah.
Number one, too R&B, which still, again,
Scary.
even though it was the 80s, there was still sort of a... Michael Jackson had a hard time getting on the radio until he broke through. They just weren't interested. They were, it was still that sort of vanilla,
Yeah.
whatever that was.
This album track, yeah. That's what Ron was saying. And Hold Me, Andy was involved with.
Hold Me is a good song.
Hold Me.
I
Oh,
like
yeah,
that
yeah,
one. So Skin Trade. Apparently that was a book.
Oh.
It seems like their best songs are always, there's always a kernel from books. So John Taylor reads a book called Skin Trade, hands it off to Simon Le Bon. He reads that and says, wow, this is outstanding. And he immediately goes and writes a song called Skin Trade.
Someone please explain.
But what do you notice about that song?
I'm going to be a little bit more specific.
Well, very strange vocals on this one.
Fall
really high. And I don't know if you know this, but during this time period, there was someone else that was singing like that. It was Prince.
Oh.
So every time I hear Skin Trade, I think, there's channeling a little bit of Prince there.
I think it was really fun.
It is a fun song.
Yeah, for his voice, I always like doing the impression of the high-pitched parts.
It's tough to do.
Could someone please
He still sings it live, and he's pretty good.
I like, ba-na-na-na.
Yeah, that's good too.
The reason for this strange behavior, ba-na-na-na. Good stuff.
It is excellent stuff.
Yeah.
Skin Trade, another single, big deal.
That is 22 in the charts, UK. It's about women selling their bodies.
Right. That's the book, yeah.
Well, yeah, also that's what Skin Trade means.
But I think they also take it as in Skin Trade is sort of, that's their business too, taking pictures, hello, hi, handshakes.
It could be multiple things.
Right. I think that's how they applied it to themselves.
Yeah. Or they channeled that book and...
Because they're talking about, drug use.
Yep.
And yes, please, thank you.
So really, hookers and, stars.
Anyone who's not, working a machine or something like that, you're essentially in the skin trade.
Yep. In some form or another.
Right.
Yep.
Show busy. I could say a prostitute's sort of show busy, right? I mean...
Yeah. Show busy in that field.
I mean, you better be charming. And a salesman, maybe.
There's also ways you can be known in that community, too.
I guess so, if you go to film.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
It's always loosely related to stars.
You could.
There you go.
So, Skin Trade was a single, 22, he said, in the UK. I think it was around that in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to be a trend. Now, this is where you go here with a view to a kill all the way up into the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
And what goes up must come down. And this is the descent. So, Notorious doesn't get to number one.
Mm-hmm.
Skin Trade gets even further away from number one.
Which is wild to me. I feel like Skin Trade would have been...
But you got to understand, normal people...
hot.
It's not like how you turn on the radio today and you turn on the pop channel and they're playing songs from 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
There were so many songs and so many good songs in this time period that you got pushed right out the door.
Yeah.
And the new thing came in and people were listening to that. So you got the people that have been fans for this long,
Mm-hmm.
that stuck around, those are the ones that really connected. The other ones you just, like, whoever's popular to Justin Bieber,
Yeah.
right? For a while, that's all you heard was Justin Bieber, and then people got sick of him.
Mm-hmm.
Ariana Grande, when's the last time you heard from her? She was red hot.
She did a new song.
See, I haven't even heard it. If it doesn't get to me,
well,
they're not doing as well as they used to.
is she the one who did Thank You Next?
Yeah.
Okay. I know people still like that.
Oh, the songs are fine.
Dude.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Weird Al just did a cover of that one.
Yeah.
As part of a thing, but that was one of the songs he used. Pretty good. Yeah, well. Ooh, Tom Baker's here. Seen Duran 4 times live here in Belgium. Always my fave band.
Oh, Belgium.
Ooh,
Beautiful.
Belgium.
How is Belgium?
Mito Presidente didn't do well neither, but the album hit the top 10 album chart It should have been higher, Ron says.
Well, when we get to El Presidente, we'll talk about what happened with that.
Yeah.
But I want to go on now to Matter of Feeling is the next
A
one.
Matter of Feeling, yeah.
Yeah. What did you think of that?
Not as good as the other three.
Really?
This, like, the
This
first...
is sort of the slow song now.
Yeah, I don't super... It's just my personal taste. I'm not a slow song kind of guy. It has to be really good for me to like a slow song.
Because the first two are like a punch in the face.
Yeah.
First three.
And then you settle down and it's like...
This is where you get sort of the ballads. This is what
this
I
is
call
like
the save a prayer.
We were doing this, then we did like a little whoop, you know?
Well,
like a little roller coaster.
I mean, it just depends on what you like. I like the slow ones too, so.
I like slow ones, just not this one.
What'd you think of the lyrics? Any thoughts on the song?
Thoughts on the lyrics?
Yeah.
Tell me some lyrics.
Well, when I hear this song, I think of... It seems to be about the road and music business and loneliness.
Which
and,
there's a lot of that already.
Yeah.
I feel like there's already enough. It's kind of an overplayed topic.
Well, I mean, if he remember,
Yeah, well,
they turned into, imagine your life, you're having a normal life, and then all of a sudden you can't even walk out the door.
yeah. So I guess
Everywhere you go, even anywhere on the globe,
you would get a lot of inspiration.
you go into a city, you come in and do your show, and you're on a
Yep.
plane in an hour after the show, and you're into the next one.
I'm saying it's fine. It's
Mhm.
just,
It's on their brain.
yeah. There are better songs they've done about that same topic.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
So what I really like about A Matter of Feeling, there is a great chord progression near the end of the song that
Do a little rendition for me.
I don't know if I could. I
Okay,
haven't heard it recent enough to do it. But it's,
Okay.
when there's no singing, that part, sort of
Yeah.
a keyboard solo, but it's chords, and those chords never go out of my head for very long.
Oh, well, there you go.
Anytime I touch a keyboard, at some point, I will think of those chords.
What, remember we were talking about that Earworm song?
Mhm.
What album was that on?
That's coming up in 2.
In 2? So after the next one?
After Big Thing.
Big Thing, we're
Mhm.
going to get into that? Okay,
Mhm.
great. I'll prepare my ears. Be stuck in my head the rest of my life.
So that chord progression in Matter of Feeling, and I've seen them play that one like on TV shows and stuff, which means they were probably prepping it for a single, but it never
Mhm.
happened.
Yeah.
Sometimes that happens.
I think I was fine without it being like that.
I like that one, so
I
that's,
like
that's
it.
a really good one for
Once
me.
again, I like it. It's just, they can't all be my favorite, you know?
They can't.
Tell me about Hold Me. You said you liked
So
that
Hold
song.
Me, and Ron is telling us that Andy did get to stay on that one.
Mm-hmm.
That's a nice little sort of that. It's not, the lyrics aren't so fantastic, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not the ethereal deep. It's just kind of
Which
whatever.
is a nice and refreshing thing occasionally.
But it is groovy,
I like groove.
and I like that. Na 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 na. Brr, brr,
So you know
brr.
how I said we were doing this, and then that one song gave me a kind of
Mhm.
Well,
Now
then
you're
that
back
song
climbing.
is back climbing.
Yeah.
I feel like they did good. It's good to kind of throw it in like that, you know? Because I did really enjoy that song.
And it's another up tempo, yeah.
I like up tempo. What can I say? I'm a tempo guy. I like to dance. I like to groove. I like to get down.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, well,
alright.
I like it. But I don't like dance mixes. Those are lame.
Well, there are some that are coming up that are really good too.
Okay.
Anytime a mix like that, somebody gets a hold of it, and a lot of album versions, there's usually a time crunch,
Mhm.
so they're not always the best they can be. And somebody with fresh ears can come in and punch it up.
Mm-hmm.
So I always do listen to the mixes. Now, the Notorious mix is kind of noisy. The Latin Rascals did it, and it's just kind of all over the place. I don't
Yeah.
know about that. Skin Trade, I mean, it's just a longer version. There's nothing special going on there.
Yeah, I'm not.
And when we get to Meet El Presidente, which is a single, they just extended percussions and stuff like that. There's nothing. This was sort of the 12-inch singles, even as an art form, were starting to die off.
Mm-hmm. So can we have a small interlude? Can we have a small what the conversation's going on over here?
Please.
They're having a conversation together. Tom and Ron over here. Tom was saying, "I love Stefano Duran guitar. a YouTube channel, fan-based band from...
I know who that is.
Yeah, you know who that is?
Mm-hmm.
And then Ron says, he's my friend, Tom. Love him.
How do you like that?
Yeah. And then Tom says, last month, Stefano bought Andy Taylor's guitar in an online auction.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which one, I wonder?
I don't know. And then Ron also says, a part of our conversation we were just having, he loves Hold Me remixes. He says
I haven't heard those.
I haven't either.
I'll have to look those up.
Yeah.
I wonder where I could find those. On the high seas?
Maybe.
I don't think they're on iTunes.
Well, I'm sure we could figure it
I would like to hear that, though.
out. Yeah.
That sounds good.
Ron says he saw it on YouTube. So it must be...
You know, there are guys who, now that you can sort of separate all the frequencies and make what are called stems, where you get each part.
refreshing it.
And some guys are really good at it. There's a guy that does Pet Shop Boys ones
Uh-huh.
that I've actually subscribed to. That's how good his are. He'll take a sort of mediocre song and beef it up.
Tom Baker says, many new remixes. Alan Cohen YouTube channel has the best.
He does.
Yeah,
In fact, his were so good, they let him do the remix for, I think it was All of You, All of Me.
Oh.
I want all of you. What was that on Future Past?
Oh, I know. Now that you said
the sun beams down on skin and ground, something everything. That's how popular that guy is. If the band goes to him and go, yeah, you could do our official,
that's
and
good
they
stuff.
made a 12-inch of it.
That's good stuff, man. Yeah, well.
I love to hear different versions of songs. I'll
there
always
you go.
listen to them.
Yes, got the blue, red, black vinyls.
Yeah, very rare.
Awesome.
Very rare.
Very cool. What were we just on?
We're going into, after Hold Me is Vertigo.
Vertigo Do the Demolition.
Which is a flip side of the record now. This is where you'd have to flip it over.
Okay.
So Vertigo Do the Demolition, another drug song.
I didn't like it as much as Hold Me. But it was still good.
Right.
I give it a GOOD.
And this is another one that I think they thought was going to be a single, because there are mixes of this that were done at the time.
That are pretty fancy.
I mean, they're just, I don't know. Again, none of the mixes from this record grabbed me.
Yeah.
I bought them. There was a double white gatefold. It's around here somewhere still.
Mm-hmm.
Very plain. It's got a sticker on it. It says, I think it's called, I can't remember. White Label Master Mixes, something like that. I can't remember, but there's a ton of American Science was reworked, and Vertigo is on there. And I can't remember the other ones, but Vertigo, drug song, and it's got that cool burnt.
That's where the demolition comes in.
Do the demolition, yeah. Your drug use. I guess they were having a lot of drug problems at this point.
Yeah, seems like it. Well, you said celebrities. That's a big part of celebrityism at the time.
Well, imagine what you think about. What do you think about when you think about celebrities? Everybody knows you, money, traveling all over the place.
Drugs.
Well, I'm talking about before the drugs. You don't do the drugs first. Can't afford them. Most people can't afford the drugs.
I feel like you get into the drugs because the pressure gets to you.
And I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Can you imagine you sit down and you write a song and then somebody tells you it's garbage?
Yeah.
Even though you've got thousands of people telling you it's fantastic, you stick on the one that said, hey, you guys suck.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's what happens, because artists are usually more sensitive and they numb the pain. I guess we'll go off on a little tangent here.
Okay.
When I worked at the college, there was a guy who was teaching film, and he used to work in Hollywood. And he would talk about the rampant drug use that he would see.
Yeah.
And you probably don't know who Bill Bixby is, do you?
The name sounds familiar. I don't think I know him though.
So he was very popular in the 60s. He did My Favorite Martian, and something about a kid he had. Son, I can't remember the name of that. Eddie's Father, something like that. But he's most famous for, I think, is Incredible Hulk. He played the guy that wasn't green in the Incredible Hulk. I think it's Dr. David Banner.
I don't
I
know.
can't remember. For some reason, they switched it a little bit in the TV show, so I was get confused.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that guy said he was dating a chick who used to date Bill Bixby. They went to his mansion. He was holed up in the closet, barricaded, smoking crack 24 hours a day and
That's
paranoid.
nice.
And they called this syndrome, it's when you have enough money where your pipe never cools.
Yeah.
So that, he was another guy who couldn't take pressure
Mm-hmm.
and criticism. And he, once you start down that slippery slope, you fry your noodle.
I've got the LTD edition box set of Notorious, ×3 disc, poster, postcards, and the strange behavior toward DVD enclosed.
I don't know that one.
And Tom Baker says, it's weird, Liberty 1990 album was the first Duran CD I bought. I was 14 years old. I loved it.
Who said that?
Tom Baker.
Tom Baker. We're in a couple weeks. We'll be on Liberty. I would really love for you to be here. We always try to do this show at 1:00 on Saturdays, and it's Central Time here. We're in Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
Very hard to find people to talk about Liberty. So I would really appreciate it. If you can, if it's possible, I'd like to hear your insights. I think that's very cool. At 14, you were there buying the Liberty record.
Tom Baker says, I loved it, that energetic go for it mix, and the album was a flop. He was disappointed, is I think what he's saying.
Well,
because he loved it and nobody else did.
I would love to hear his insights.
Yeah.
And I have some stories about that record and what I did.
Fancy.
So I'll tell those when we get to Liberty. But anybody who wants to talk about Liberty is very interesting to me. It's easy to talk about Seven and the Ragged Tiger and Rio.
Yeah.
Notorious, big thing, a little less.
Mm-hmm.
But then once you get into Liberty, this is where almost everybody falls off.
And also, I feel like anybody can talk about this stuff, but Ron has been a very interesting part of this conversation.
Yeah, Ron, I told you, Ron's another level.
Yeah, Ron is studied up, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Ron is that's who I ask what's going on.
Yeah. When we're talking
He's
about
almost the Ask Kathy.
Yeah. Of Duran Duran, which is nice. It's nice
Kathy,
to have.
you know, anybody who's watching this, Ask Kathy is a feature they have on their website.
Mm-hmm.
The girl's name is Kathy.
Yeah.
If I sat down and wrote her an email right now, I'd have a response within an hour.
That's nice.
And she tolerates the dumbest questions, and she's a great lady. I can see why they have her. She's been around a long time doing that.
I feel like I've heard Ask Kathy before.
And I think she does the co-hosting gig on Simon's radio show on Sirius XM.
Did she used to do newspaper?
I don't know that.
Like the newspaper things, like where you write in about your problems and you ask Kathy for advice?
No, I think you're thinking of...
Who am I thinking of? There was somebody popular.
Dear Abby.
Dear Abby is what I was thinking.
Way different.
Wait.
Kathy seems to focus in on Duran Duran.
Okay.
She has their ear and she can relay information.
Okay, I didn't know she was a specific.
And there's a tremendous archive. Probably every question we have is probably already on that archive.
Very nice.
That's why I try not to bother her with old stuff.
Yeah.
And ask about the newer stuff.
Okay.
And I haven't contacted her in a while.
She's been with them now over 20 years plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's been around a hot minute.
And she's dialed in. And she's trusted.
Pretty good.
So, hopefully Tom Baker can be there for Liberty, because that's going to be an interesting discussion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, very interesting talk.
Okay.
We'll have. I can't wait for that one, actually. I'm pretty excited about that one.
Oh, wow.
Vertigo. So who's left?
So Misled.
So Misled. Boy, this to me is almost a throwaway song. I should not be so misled. Was a month before I realized. It just doesn't. It doesn't hit my soul.
The lyrics aren't very magical.
I don't even really remember the lyrics very much, but it's just sort of. And by the way, you know, all of the songs for me are great on this record because I love the different style and sort of the drumming and everything like that. But that's one that just doesn't. You know, songs sometimes can fill you up and touch your soul, and some are just background noise.
They're just there.
Yeah.
I mean, they're nice.
To me, So Misled is just there.
Yeah, I didn't really like it either. It wasn't one of the best.
So I wouldn't say I didn't like it. I'm just saying it doesn't
it's
invoke.
lower than the others.
It doesn't invoke an emotion in me.
Yeah, which is not really anything.
Well, I mean, music is music, right?
While
Can't all be winners.
while promoting liberty, they got booed at the Belgian Music Diamonds Awards.
I don't like that.
That's pretty wild.
But see what I mean by that? They were on top of the world, and people love to take shots at people who are at the top.
Yeah.
So that's what you get. Anybody, listen, they could have run into them and they're busy. You imagine everybody that you walk into a room, everybody wants to talk to you. You couldn't even go from one room to the next. At some point, you're going to be short with somebody, and then somebody's going to be offended, and then some people are going to hate you forever. So that's why I think society loves to knock these people down a peg. Taylor Swift, she may stick and stay on top for a very long time.
No, people are already turning on her.
I don't know. She's right now, I would say she's the top.
Oh, she's the top, but people are also turning on her at the same time.
And somehow Miley Cyrus is still able to hang on.
Yeah, because she had that new song, and it had a great story, and everybody was like, wow. So.
But yeah, to that longevity, who's that guy with all the tattoos? Post Malone.
Post Malone.
He is holding on way longer because he keeps turning out hits.
Yeah.
But I just saw Katy Perry, who was.
Oh yeah.
Was a star.
I know what you're talking about.
She put out her song.
And everybody hated it.
I don't know that they hated it, but it shot up the chart or whatever, how they measure that now, because there are no record sales really that they do it that way. And then the next day it dropped off into oblivion.
Yeah, I saw people attacking her new song.
Right.
They were saying it's the lamest lyrics they've ever heard in their life.
And I haven't heard it, so I don't know. But I just think people want to, when somebody comes back like that, they want to attack them.
Yeah.
That's why you rarely see bands together this long, which is an amazing feat for Duran Duran. They're still writing. As we found out, there's going to be a couple new songs in October.
Pretty excited.
Me too.
I'm very excited.
So, Meet El Presidente. Ooh.
Oh, I know that.
Ooh.
Once again, it's better than some of the ones on here, but not my favorite. I would rank it above like So Misled. What's that other one I didn't like?
Well, it was a single.
Yeah. I mean, out of the singles, because there was Notorious,
Skin Trade, and Meet El Presidente.
That's probably my third favorite.
And I think probably everybody's.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if some people, I bet, hold Skin Trade higher than Notorious, even though Skin Trade doesn't get played as much live as Notorious. Notorious seems to always be in the set.
Because I love Notorious. That's a great song. That's like, that would be my number one single.
Like every time they go out live, you're definitely going to hear Wild Boys. You're definitely going to hear View to a Kill. You're definitely going to hear Notorious. And they're always going to finish with a Rio.
Yeah.
And you're going to hear Hungry Like the Wolf.
Yeah. Those are the songs.
So just prepare yourself.
Yeah, Meet El Presidente, I mean, it's still good. It's, out of the singles, yeah, it's my least favorite, but I still think the singles are held above everything else.
Well, that's sort of
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah. So Meet El Presidente, they did something very strange with this one.
What did they do?
They courted the R&B audience. And they actually went on Soul Train. And you know what Soul Train is?
A TV show?
Yeah. But you know that do you know American Bandstand with Dick Clark?
I don't know that.
Okay, so it was a show where I don't want to say white kids, but it was pretty vanilla. They would go over to Dick Clark's show and dance. They'd play whatever the latest song is, and then they'd all dance. And then the R&B was always shut out of that. If you weren't vanilla, you weren't there. So you go to Soul Train. They created, Don Cornelius created Soul Train, and that's where you went. And Duran Duran went, I don't care. We're going over to Soul Train because this song is funky.
Yeah.
And it got a great reception there.
Yeah, and then Ron saw it epic. The B-side is fantastic. We Need You.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll get to We Need You. The only B-side, I think, out of all of these.
I think so.
The only extra song.
I don't know that 100%, but I'm going to say yes.
Well, I didn't see any.
Yeah.
I'm surprised because they're so good with their B-sides now. I mean, there's usually 4 or 5, and they're usually as good as anything on the album or better.
Yeah. Yep.
So this is just a different period where you crank something out and then.
Tell me about Winter Marches On, unless you have more to say about Meet El Presidente.
Meet El Presidente, no, because we talked about Margaret Thatcher, which I didn't know. I love getting knowledge bombs like that.
Yeah, thank you, Ron.
I had no idea it was Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah, well, that's fun.
Winter Marches On is
I didn't
sort of
like.
a. So this is the Simon track.
Uh-oh.
So every album he seems to fixate on. He wants his own track.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that touches him, probably something he read or something like that. And they come up with this, and they sort of get this sort of ethereal.
Yeah, but he's done that good sometimes. This one ain't good.
Yeah.
I heard it like literally like 10 minutes ago or something.
Right.
I didn't like.
So Winter Marches On is not one that you can just hear and then file it into your brain. You hear it a bunch of times. You got to be in the right mood. You got to be mellowed out. And
I don't like being mellow.
if you listen to it and some of the percussion in there, and it sort of reminds me of sort of a flip side of Secret October.
I like Secret October way more than I like this song,
Right.
so don't even dare compare
But
them.
it's just they have similar. They're drinking out of the same cup.
Yeah.
It's just they're in this new phase, so it sort of sounds more like that. But when I hear that one, lyrics are deep, and that's what I like. I like them thick and juicy. And that's what they is.
Tom says Secret October, Late Bar, great B-sides.
We talked about
We
Late
talked
Bar.
about
I don't know
Late
if you were
Bar.
here for that one, Tom, but that's one I said. Not a day goes by where I don't hear that song in my head.
Yeah.
Can't get it out of my head. It's stuck in there like a tick.
You better relax over there.
Well, I
buddy
love
boy.
ticks.
Yeah, I bet you do.
So Winter Marches On, I would say I wouldn't dismiss that yet.
I've
There's
dismissed
something
it.
there's something beautiful there.
I have dismissed it.
Hopefully one day you'll hear that and you'll go, oh. Because I will say, sometimes I hear their songs and I'm like, I don't like that. And
Nothing
then
I hate more than when someone says that to me. Well, maybe one day you'll be enlightened enough to enjoy this
No,
song.
I'm not saying enlightened. That's the wrong word, because music is everybody's got their own taste. So there's no such thing as your taste is worse than mine or vice versa. It's
Yeah. One day I hope you'll be on my planet.
well, I just wouldn't dismiss it. You could so misled, you could probably never hear that again or dismiss it. Winter Marches On, I don't know that I would throw on the waste bin so quickly.
Okay, I'll think about it.
Let me think about it. Because sometimes I'll hear like half the album and then I'll go over here and I'll go, wait a minute, I didn't really give that a chance. I wasn't in the right. We're busy. When you're listening to music and you're driving or busy, it's not the best way to listen to it.
Okay.
Dark room, headphones, that's the best way to listen to music. 'Cause you got to hear everything.
I like to listen to music while I'm doing other things, though. That's
And
my life.
The very best way to hear music, make a tape of it. Because you got to sit there and pay attention.
I'm not making a tape.
Well,
No.
Many people don't anymore, but
I really liked Proposition.
so Proposition, a nice uplifting,
Loved it. Great.
going
we
out
just
the
heard
door.
it. I loved it.
What is Proposition about?
Propositions.
So when
Of
I
some
when I
sort?
hear this song, and I don't know,
Okay.
when I hear
Maybe
those
we're on
lyrics,
with
I
Thomas.
think of Russia, United States, nuclear war,
Mhm.
something in that vein
Mhm.
of sort of, instead of threatening each other with missiles, how about a conversation?
Yep.
That's what I hear.
And I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it was one of the slightly longer ones on the album, there's like 5-6 minute ones. I liked it. Normally I don't stick around that long. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, great drumming on that one.
Love a good drum.
Great synthesizer.
Love
That's
a
just
good
a fun.
synthesizer.
That's just a fun song.
I
It's,
think
it's a nice finisher for this record.
Yeah, we were doing a little bit, and then we went,
As you're leaving out
It's
the
not
door,
a finisher. We Need You is next.
We Need You's a B-side, so that really doesn't
Oh,
count.
so it doesn't
So,
count.
like on this album here, this is what you would have got in 1986,
Mm-hmm.
and you wouldn't have got the B-side.
Mm-hmm.
That was later when you'd go get the single.
Mm-hmm.
We Need You. What did you think of that?
I thought it was better than some, not the best, not the worst.
Mhm.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah,
I feel like it was kind of. I feel like it was kind of like maybe here. It was like mid,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a little
Well,
higher
B-side.
than that.
Remember, it's B-side.
Yeah.
That has a stigma.
Yeah.
That's why it's a B-side, usually.
How did you feel about it?
So I like the song. Listen, I'm always happy to hear more.
I feel like if I've heard a song around you, you must like it on some level. And I feel like I've heard this song.
Well, I do go through cycles.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe this was in your cycle at some point because
Mhm.
it's in my brain. That's why I'm like, oh.
Well, I mean, it's just a nice sort of. When I hear this song, I don't know what this one is about either, but I to me, it sounds like Roger Taylor.
I
To
don't
me,
know.
it's a
Let me see.
we miss you, and it would be nice if you came back to the band. Your presence is missed.
That's nice.
That's what I hear.
Of course, it's not going to load, and I'm trying to figure it out because sometimes they have.
The
Sometimes
lyrics
they
and the
tell
meaning.
you, yeah.
Well, I'm sure people will tell us here.
Ron is singing it in his head. Lol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, again, Duran Duran fans, you mentioned a song, you can't help but
Exactly.
you go right to the file. We need you.
Yeah. For some reason, this isn't loading, so I'm just gonna.
What is it?
I'm gonna move on. I was looking up.
Oh, what it is? Yeah. Hardly worth the look up.
It'll be okay. Duran's concert in Antwerp 2005 was my best experience of a concert. It is great quality on YouTube. Someone in the audience filmed it. I was just out of frame.
How do you like that? So
Oh.
somebody filmed it like a bootleg,
Yeah.
and it was good. Those are rare.
Yeah. And Tom says he was in it. Well, just off of it, you know.
So that would have been still doing Astronaut, that tour. Would have been
I don't know the names of the
2005.
tours. I gotta be for real.
Well, it's whatever the album is at that time.
Oh, okay.
So Astronaut, that would have been that record still playing. It's kind of fuzzy in my mind about that time period because they announced they were getting back together. They had to finish some stuff up with Warren. They didn't get to go write an album right away because the record companies weren't interested. So they did like a proof of concept. They went around and did a 10-date tour. Japan, United States, something like that. And then that stirred interest with the record company.
Okay.
Then they finished the record, and then they do a proper release, and then a tour, and that's why it ballooned out to 2005.
Yeah, I get that.
So I think that's what that was.
That tends to happen.
But Notorious, first Duran Duran concert I ever went to.
Very
I was
cool.
finally old enough.
Nope.
Because no one was going to take me.
Yep.
And I had a couple of dollars to pay for the ticket. And I remember we were at church, and there were some people there in church that were also excited to go. Dick Bird was there. It was in the Forum in Los Angeles. It's a huge arena. And I was up here.
So not really, was it nosebleeds or?
Not nosebleeds, but
getting there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Certainly your nose was somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And then these people from the church go, oh yeah, we were there. We got there, we had some friend or something, when they upgraded us, we were in the front row.
Aww.
I pulled something off of Simon's shoe.
Aww.
Oh, you sons of bitches.
Get him.
But great show.
Yeah.
And I haven't missed one since.
Ron says best ever gig, my number one fave.
Notorious, huh? Yeah. Good one. That's the one where they had a horn section. That's why that documentary is so fun. You see them auditioning backup singers. It's very inner workings sort of thing.
Which is fun.
It's interesting, I think. And that record is that's where you get the Hungry Like the Wolf, that I don't want to call it strange, but different. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Instead of do 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 do. They only did that once. Never heard it again. So I'm going to say probably the right decision.
Okay. The huge screen Simon Le Bon singing Wild Boys, then he runs on the stage. The huge screen Simon Le Bon singing Wild Boys, then he runs on the stage.
So I think that's they do that because that's how the video was.
Yeah. Plus it's fun.
It's fun. But if you see, the Wild Boys video is very interesting because they sort of tried to go backwards in time and mix it into the video concert. So he's wearing the same outfit he would have had on stage. And in the video, he's singing on the TV before you see them.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he's in the leathers. And so I'm not really sure how that works together, but that's how you see him. You see him up on the screen almost like you were at the concert. So I think that's why he still does it that way. And they got that weird Wild Boy head that's on one of the screens.
Yep.
And then they have some like fire coming out the front. I don't think it's real fire though. I think it's an illusion.
Pretty good.
I don't think they would do fire.
I love it.
So you have any final final thoughts.
Well, we got to do our faves, least faves, and
Oh, you're right.
sleepers.
So those will be our final
Those
thoughts.
are our final
Tell
thoughts.
me, what is your favorite? What is one that rises above? What is the cream on the Notorious cake?
Are you going to really be surprised when I say it's Notorious?
Yeah, I thought so.
I said that was at the start, I kind of gave it away. I said that's
Mhm.
one of my favorite Duran Duran songs of all
yeah.
time.
Right. So my favorite on this record.
Tell me.
See, the problem is I'm going to have to tell you what my favorite is now because they always change.
Yeah, that happens.
Could I really say Notorious?
You could.
I don't think I'm going to.
You could.
I like the deeper stuff. So which one do I want to say?
Don't say Winter Marches On.
No, but I like Winter
Okay.
Marches On a lot. But American Science, Matter of Feeling. It's one of those two.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not 100% sure which one I could tell you. Probably American Science, but probably Matter of Feeling. Somewhere in there are those two. So I'm going to go American Science.
American Science. So yours favorite on this album is American Science and mine is Notorious.
Mm-hmm. First two tracks.
Yeah, solid.
So we'll get rid of the rest of the record.
Get it out of there. What about your least favorite on the album?
So
I think we agree on this one.
So the one that I could probably never hear again and wouldn't tear up or would play last on the record would be So Misled.
I agree.
I think that's a misfire.
I didn't like it much either. When I heard it, I was like, oh.
I'm not going to say I don't like it.
Well, I could say that.
I'm just going to say it doesn't reach me.
It's not the same.
But again, I would still rather hear that than a lot of other things. So
Yeah.
I'll never say negative. I'm glad it's there. I wouldn't erase it.
But it's your least favorite on the album. It's true.
You
got to say it eventually.
Yeah, I guess maybe.
Okay.
Now, what is your sleeper? What is one that where you listen to the record? Normal people are going to know this record and go, "Oh, I'm going to listen to Notorious."
Yeah.
But there's a track on the record where you're like, "Hey, you know
I
what?
got it.
Don't skip this one."
You ready for it?
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah. Is it Winter Marches On?
No. That would be an amazing sleeper, though. That'd be the plot twist of the century. I'm going to say Proposition.
Ooh, that's a spicy choice.
Yeah, I think so. That's why I gave some hype to it. I think out of all the ones I heard, I was like, I never heard it before I heard it just now. Very first time hearing it, I really enjoyed it. I even said, after we listened to it, I was like, I like this one. And
I might have said that as a sleeper.
That's my sleeper.
So I got to come up with another sleeper, right?
Well, you can disagree with me. That's okay.
I agree that would be a sleeper. So let me... I mean...
You mean my all-time fave Duran songs?
Is the Proposition?
I don't know. Oh, they were having a conversation before this. Oh, just ignore me.
So, sleeper. I'm going to go with, even though it's not a sleeper, I'll go with Matter of Feeling. Don't skip that one.
I mean, if it's not a single, isn't it technically a sleeper?
You could call it a sleeper, don't skip. You wouldn't see it on like a greatest hits or anything like that.
Yeah, so I think you count.
But I think they were thinking about doing that.
Yeah, but it didn't, so you can get away with it for our list.
Okay, thank you.
So my favorite is Notorious, my least favorite is So Misled, and my sleeper is Proposition.
So, hopefully people, and we forgot to mention, your homework is down below. You can hear all of these songs we discussed. All you have to do is just press the button.
In the same order we discussed them in, too.
Right. Isn't that nice?
It is nice.
So you can get out a pen or a legal pad. And if you love to do homework, you follow along.
Just like me.
And write down everything we said.
So it's under Duran Duran 4, the songs we talked about today. And then I also included Duran Duran 5.
Big Thing.
Which is what we're going to be talking about next week, Saturday, 1 o'clock, hopefully. If that changes, because I have a busy schedule, all those important Duran Duran meetings I have to go to.
So I'm really excited to talk about Big Thing. A big thing in my life was a big thing.
Yeah.
This is an era where I actually had a car and some money.
Can we show them our pillow?
Where is it?
It is in the other room, but I'm talking about next week.
Then you have to wait.
You have to wait to see our pillow.
Big Thing pillow. You're going to have to wait.
Until next week.
So make sure, listen, even if you have a surgery scheduled, I want you to call the doctor.
And tell them, hey,
tell them, can we do it Sunday? Because I got to see the pillow.
I got to see the pillow. And then we're going to move it to Sunday, and it's going to be a whole thing.
Right. Maybe better tell the surgeon, have him on call for once.
Yeah.
Usually you got to wait on him. Let's have him wait on you this time so
exactly.
you can see the pillow.
Figure out what's going on.
Very exciting record. Very, very exciting talk about Big Thing. And and there's some spicy stuff that...
The time you won't be wrong. You're allowed to turn it on.
So definitely do your homework for Big Thing. That's also down below. You can hear all the songs we're going to talk about, including, which I will talk about a lot, is the 7-inch mix of Big Thing, which is the original way that song was going to be on the record. And it is as far away from the Big Thing that we got that could possibly be. And also Drug. There was apparently a huge fight about Drug. So I'm not sure if we put both versions on there. I don't know. We'll talk about it when we get there. But the song is called Drug, Just a State of Mind, in parentheses.
I think we just have Drug, Just a State of Mind.
So there's 2 different versions. There's a story about that.
Okay.
Your homework's down there.
Yep. So when are you on next? Saturday or Sunday? We are shooting for Saturday.
We're always going to shoot for Saturday at 1 o'clock, but some of the laser brains are lasering their brains, and
in university,
if it can be helped.
Yeah,
the university is a different story. That's got to come first.
Listen, I love getting my knowledge on Duran Duran, but my knowledge in education is going to be far more useful, I think.
I don't know about that.
I don't agree with that.
A good education on Duran Duran will uplift your life. These songs will always be with you, and even when you're having a bad day, these songs can fill you with joy. And when I hear these songs, I go right back to the day I first heard them. And usually it's a good memory.
Cool. That's nice to hear.
Yeah. That's why I like them.
That's what I got. And yeah, I don't know, I don't remember if Tom Baker was here before, but just in case Tom doesn't know, we look at the deluxe album and we cherry pick the ones we want to talk about or what we think are the quote unquote.
I try to filter out the redundancies and aren't really appropriate, but like every now and then you'll see a 12 mix in there is because I think it took the song to a different level, so I'll put that in. And the discussion about the single Big Thing and what it was gonna be and what it turned out to be has to be acknowledged. Just because I'd never known that story until that deluxe version came out, and I was like,
what?
This is what you were gonna do?
Was it a good or a bad thing?
I'll tell you tomorrow.
Oh, you mean next week?
No, I'll tell you tomorrow. You'll be asleep and I'll laugh, and then maybe I'll repeat it on next Saturday.
Oh, one moment. Ron says big news on Facebook today.
Let's have it, Ronnie.
Ron, we need to hear it.
I didn't see anything on Facebook today.
Well, Ron always seems to know stuff before we do.
Ron is dialed into stuff that even the band doesn't know yet.
That's pretty good.
Thank you.
Well, I'm waiting on Ron here. I want to know what the big news on Facebook is today.
So do I.
Yeah. Ron knew about that Fun October deluxe album, and I'm pretty jazzed about that. I'm still jazzed about it.
You know, I don't know if I should mention this or not. Maybe I will, just out of respect.
Yeah.
I also saw that Roger Taylor lost his mom
very
recently. So if somehow Roger sees this, I'm sorry, Roger.
Yeah.
I don't know any details. I have no idea, other than I'll just say my condolences and rest in peace.
Do you think that's what Ron was referring to? Or?
No, I don't think that. This was last week.
Okay.
I don't think it would be big on Facebook. In fact, how I got that information, somebody had actually contacted me. I don't even know if that is public or not. Or like promoted.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be promoted.
Well, usually you hear that stuff.
There's like a thing. Well, I'm waiting on Ron.
Okay, well, I want to hear what happened to Facebook.
Ron, we miss you. We can talk about the thing I'm going to be most excited to talk about is like Pressure Off and Up.
Well.
I know that's
you could be here long. There's Ron.
That is what. Okay. Duran Duran are doing a massive, huge tour spring 2025, South America, North America, Asia, Australia, and all over Europe, and a new album. He likes that news.
A new album?
It could just be talk of a new album.
They would have to have written it already, and that would be awfully fast for them.
Well, once again,
But I'll take it.
Ron is always, he knows things. Maybe you're not going to hear about it for a little bit. Maybe, you know?
So I wonder, I mean, can we hear about it? Are we going to get a record in February, or are we getting a record next December?
I don't know.
Christmas record?
How was I supposed? Yeah, they do their famous. Well, they did one Christmas song. They could do a whole Christmas album. Maybe covers of like Jingle Bells.
I will say I saw them it was 92 or 93. It was at the KRQ Acoustic Christmas, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
They were the headliners, and they came out and they did the that Beatles guy. Oh, am I blanking on his name? John Lennon. This is
John
Christmas,
Lennon.
War is over.
I know that song.
He came out and sang that.
Ooh.
The band did that, and it was very good.
Is there a recording of it that I can watch?
I've never seen it. I've never seen the Acoustic Christmas online. And that is also the show where Suzanne Vega was hitting on me.
I've been a Duranie since 1981. I was 12 years old, now 55, still a diehard Duranie. That's what Ron says.
I think
Ron knows stuff.
Ron, I think that's about when I heard them, 83. I might have been 12, 11.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm going to say 10, 11, 12. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right on the money.
And yet, Ron is on a completely different plane than you.
Well, he's dialed in.
Yeah.
I'm not as dialed in.
That's true.
I get the mission. All right, everybody. Thank you.
Saturday.
I look forward to Big Thing.
Saturday, 1 o'clock, Arkansas time.
Central
Central
zone.
U.S. time.
No, Central time zone.
Oh, it's
is
just
the
Central? Just Central?
Every region
I didn't
has
know
their
that.
time zone, and we're Central.
Oh, well, here we go. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.